Bass Nation. Welcome to the Kayak Bass Nation. Kayak Bass Nation. Hey, welcome to the Kayak Bass Nation. Welcome to the Kayak Bass Nation. Welcome to the Kayak Bass Nation.
Kayak Bass Nation is presented by Dugout Bait and Tackle. Go to dugoutfishing.com to find everything you need for your next kayak bass fishing tournament.
Hope you enjoy the show. Jeff Malott, Lunch Money Lambert, Lego.
Also sponsored by Revo Sunglasses. Go to revo.com, use code KBN25 to save 25% off your next order. Revo, best lenses on earth. Also sponsored by Western Sun Vodka. Go to westernsundistillery.com and use the bottle finder to find a bottle near you.
Welcome to the Kayak Bass Nation.
All right, what's up, everybody? Welcome to KBN Live. Happy Monday. This show is going to be awesome. We got two guests tonight. I didn't even know about this one story till late yesterday. And then, of course, we got the champ, Bailey Eigbrett, in here from Serious Angler, fellow podcaster, and now Hobie champion and TOC qualifier. So we're excited to have Bailey in here and talk to him about that. But as always, we like to review the weekend that was ourselves. So, Ryan, how you doing tonight, man?
Tired. I still hadn't got my wind back, buddy. That was rough out there.
Yeah. How was the weekend for you? Did you have a good time?
It was all right. I mean, the lake pre-fishing was, in my opinion, pretty rough. I planned on just going back to what I fished in the TOC, which was just miles and miles of running a creek that I thought had fish in it. I did that on day one and managed 3 fish out of a 14-mile round trip, so that was stupid. Day two, I slept in, woke up with a little bit of a headache, kind of dehydrated, and picked like the closest ramp to my hotel and actually caught fish, so that was cool.
Did you go down there to Cheney?
No, right across the bridge. I went to Georgetown, the ramp that we had to launch at when the gate was locked down there. Oh, yeah. That's the only other ramp I really knew, so I was like, yeah, we'll go for that one.
I got you, man. It was a fun
How
few
did
days
you
leading
like
up
it,
to
Jeff?
Well, we're gonna have a little therapy session here, Ryan.
Tell me what went wrong.
So first of all, let me tell you this. I did get to meet some people that I never met before, and that was cool. We got to hang out with Conrad, the legend Benetti, at dinner. Yeah. And let me tell you, Conrad is the nicest, most humble person you ever meet in person, in spite of what his online persona may try to push out there. And then we met Tim Arthur, who's in the comments right now. Tim from California, very cool. Got to hang out with those guys and had a good time, and met some other people as well for the first time. So that part is always fun. We had a little dinner on Thursday night and all that kind of stuff. But for me personally, I struggled to figure out Eufaula from the jump on Thursday. I caught 1 bass pre-fishing Thursday and Friday, and that happened to be from the bank. So I started in that area Saturday, caught 3 fish Saturday morning, but only 1 measured. And I'm in kind of a funk, Ryan. I'm in a. I told you guys in our group message, I think I've lost my competitive edge because towards the end of last year, leading into this year, I've never considered myself the best angler at a specific technique, but I've carried over my competitiveness from other sports that I used to play into this, and would just grind in tough tournaments, stay out in the weather, make more casts, cover more water, all that kind of stuff. And anymore, about mid-morning, if things aren't going right, I find myself looking for the closest Brahms or Chick-fil-A or something. So this Saturday morning, things were going great, and by noon, sure enough, I found myself in the Chick-fil-A drive-thru, and by Saturday afternoon, man, I was heading back to Arkansas with 1 keeper. So I don't know. When I got back, I saw a late-night commercial. I ordered some Nugenics from Frank Thomas, and I'm going to watch some Kobe Bryant. I'm going to watch some Kobe Bryant videos, some Mamba mentality videos, and try to get my edge back. But yeah, I got some work to do mentally to get ready for the next couple tournaments. But anyway, I still had a fun time. Still got to see.
I got
everybody,
faith in you, Jeff. I got faith in you. I think you gonna come back strong, qualify for the TOC. I think you and Luke Arian are gonna do well at Broken Bow. That's my picks.
Yeah. Luke had a good day had a good weekend at this deal.
He did. He did.
Top 10,
he did all right in the TOC too down there. Like I feel like Eufaula maybe his second home.
Brian, BTC in the comments saying probably low T2. That's why I ordered the Nugenics, man. Big Frank on the commercials and Doug Flutie said that the Nugenics is what's up. So I got that on the way.
Who's Brian Stockel?
I don't know. He's the 20.25 guy. That's him.
Yeah. I can't wait till he fishes a tournament and catches all 20.25s.
Yeah. But anyway, it was a tough tournament for everyone. It was cool to see the guys that did figure it out and girls. And I'm really curious to hear what Bailey did, so it's going to be a good one. We'll get him here to talk to him. But before that, you know about this story. I didn't even know about it. We had some stuff go down at the ramp. You know, we always hear about people throwing treble hooks at people and making these bold statements, but my man really had to actually put up or shut up, huh?
You always hear, meet me at the ramp. I don't think many people actually take that serious. This is what happens when you meet somebody at the ramp. Let's bring on our first guest.
All right, let's do this. Boom. Jeremy, what's up, my man?
How's it going, guys?
How you doing?
I'm all right. How you doing?
Oh, we're good. We're good.
Very tough tournament.
Well, you got something out of it anyway.
Yeah, I got something out of it.
First of all, how'd you do fishing wise?
Day 1, 2 keepers, and day 2, I fished till 10 or 11, and I couldn't get a bite, man. I was wore out. My hand is let's see, where's the camera? There, it's pretty swollen. So I was trying to skip with a broken pinky finger.
I think they call that a boxer's fracture, which makes sense.
Yeah. Alabama hardhead.
How so tell us, like we've tried not to spill the beans here and give too many hints away. Explain what happened here.
Well, basically, I practiced all day fishing. I got in Monday late. Stayed the night, slept, got up Tuesday, went fishing Tuesday morning, fished all day, no fish, tough day. Get back to the ramp, and the wind had picked up pretty, it was doing that every day at Eufaula, picking up very heavy today. So I was bouncing around trying to get up to the boat dock, and something just slams into my kayak, and I was like, what the hell is this? And when I turn around, there's a guy in a Phoenix. And at first, my first thought was, wow, this guy accidentally slams into me. So I'll keep it PG since we're on the podcast. But basically, he tells me to get my head.
No, you don't have to.
Bring it on.
Oh, the words out of his mouth was, "You need to get that fucking thing out of the water, buddy."
Oh.
And his partner's in the boat with him, shaking his head, like looking down at the boat, like, no. You know what I mean? And I'm not a calm guy by any means. I'm an irate guy, so I don't. It doesn't take much. To push me. So when this dude did that, I obviously told him I would gladly climb on his boat and beat his fucking teeth out. And he's, I'm trying to get on his boat. I really am. That was my intentions, was to get onto his boat because I was going to beat his ass on his boat and throw his keys in the lake. That's the thought was running through my mind, is beat this guy's ass and throw his keys in the lake. He won't do that shit no more. So we're arguing, and he's getting away from me. He's gassing his boat, getting away from me. I can't keep up with him. So I told him, I said, you boat that dock. I said, you land that boat, buddy. I said, I'll beat your ass on the dock. I said, meet me on the land. And there were a bunch of people out there fishing. And so apparently somebody in the moment of all that had already called the police department. Because by the time I boat up, I jump off, I get my boat tied up, and I get on the dock. I get up on the land and take my life jacket off. I'm in flip-flops and a tank top. I'm ready to go. I don't care. So, and I'm gonna give old boy credit. He was a healthy old big redneck boy. He was not scared. He's no fear at him. He boated his dock. He landed that boat and come right up on the dock. And I shoved him in. He threw this Alabama haymaker from I don't know where, the other side of Eufaula, slow as I'll get out. And I've been in a few tussles in my life. I've been in a couple fights. So when he flung this haymaker, I two-pieced him right in the face. And he staggered back, and he commenced to do the Alabama windmill on me, man. He dropped his head and just swinging. He caught me in the nose real good, busted my nose. I'm bleeding, so I just started swinging. Just started punching and swinging at him, jabbing him, and he couldn't take it. He balled up like a turtle, and when the police rolled up, I was whooping his ass, and they jump out of the cars, pulling the taser on me. They put me in handcuffs, but luckily all the people at the boat ramp were like, no, that's not what's going on. And they told me I was irate. I'm screaming at the cop, what the fuck is wrong with you? This dude hit me with his boat. You got me in handcuffs. I'm freaking the fuck out. And people are, and sadly all the people there were fishing, man, because had not, I would have had no leg to stand on, because when the cop got there, I was just beating his ass. So, but they told him, and that cop actually asked me if I wanted to press charges. He said, do you want to press charges? And that guy in the boat was like, well, what do you mean press charges? And that cop told him, he said, that's assault with a vehicle, man. He said, that's no different than you hitting a guy with your car on a bicycle on the road, man. And I'm flipping. I'm like, what would you done? You sunk my kayak, dude. Well, I got $8,000. I got a Solix 10, a Mega Live. I got a lot of stuff invested in my kayak. And oh man, it was unreal. It was just
he thought he was immune from charges because he got his ass beat. I lost.
So.
What do you mean press charges?
yeah. That's exactly how he acted. Like he did nothing wrong with hitting me with his boat. I don't know.
Gosh.
$80,000 Phoenix, I guess.
That's
on the lake.
insane. That's insane.
Yeah,
I thought what I heard. I thought that he backed into your kayak, trying to get to the
he
water.
bumped me,
So I
man.
didn't realize he was
pushed me.
you.
No, he ran me and told me to get the fuck out of the water.
Wow.
And if he would have been like, "Oh, I'm so sorry," it would have been a whole different situation. But there was no apology. That was the first thing out of his mouth was, "You need to get that fucking thing out of the water, buddy." Like I was impeding the lake.
Hey, do you know that you said the guy balled up like a turtle? Eufaula has strict limits on turtles, so you better be careful there. You could have gotten in trouble there.
That might have been why they got out with the tasers.
They got him for turtle abuse.
At least they didn't tase me. I was not irate too bad, so that I got my hands off of him before I got the shock treatment.
You didn't get the tase? All right.
No, I was smart enough, but they put me in handcuffs. That kind of sucked. I'm standing there in handcuffs in front of everybody.
That kind of sucked.
Is there any pictures of this?
Yeah, somebody got this on video.
I can't wait for a video. Somebody video this.
$500 reward for the video. Somebody find it. This is going on World Star. We got this.
But there's one. All these cell phones. I've been looking. I got my sister-in-law looking on the internet. We're all trying to find a video. It's somewhere. There's a video of me kicking this dude's ass.
Spread the word. We got a reward out. We want this.
Steve Fields says next time reach out and he'll go live from the camera boat. He'll come over.
Yeah.
Box his ears, mate. Crikey.
Dylan Lowry keeps asking for the name.
Did not disappoint, buddy. That was everything I hoped for and more.
Well, I'm glad. I hope he learned his lesson though, and now he won't mess with another kayaker.
There you go.
I would say not. I don't think he'll probably help us all load up at the ramp.
He really could have hurt me. I mean, and I hope he took that into consideration, because even his buddy wouldn't help him. So his buddy knew he was in the wrong. So there was two of them on the boat together.
What kind of kayak are you in?
Hobie PA-14.
All right, so it can take a licking and keep on ticking.
Keep on ticking. Yes, sir.
I like it.
All right, Jeremy, you are the hero that kayak fishing needed.
Somebody send him a trophy. Steve, send him a trophy. Boxing gloves.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah, I'm gonna send you some Revo stuff. So DM me your address. We'll get you some Revo stuff at least.
Sure.
Yeah.
We're gonna get that belt. Where's that Save JT belt? We're gonna get him one of those. Too.
Yeah, there you go.
Good shit, Jeremy. Proud of you.
Right,
appreciate you, brother.
Have a good night, man.
Oh my, that was even better than I thought it was gonna be, Ryan.
Holy cow, that's feisty.
Yeah. Zach Hall said this is the best podcast we've ever had, and they're only a few minutes in.
Dude, this is reminiscent of Josh Smith's trip on here.
Yeah.
Wild.
Whoa. Bailey was in the waiting room cracking up. So, and somebody in the comments said Bailey might have had a situation with the airboat. So we'll ask him about that when we get him in here.
Yeah, he probably got sprayed.
Yeah. So we'll ask him about that. Before we do get him in here and we talk to the champ, we always want to talk about our sponsors. So I always appreciate Dugout Bait and Tackle. A lot of people swung by the Dugout, I think, on the way to this tournament, didn't they, Ryan?
Yes, a lot of people did, including myself.
Yeah. And then Western Sun Vodka, cooling everybody off or easing the pain from a tough tournament after this weekend. And then Revo. I'm going to get Jeremy some Revo stuff. And Revo, they've got a thing they're coming out with, Ryan, another contingency program for kayak anglers. More details forthcoming. But basically, you win a tournament anywhere with with a pair of Revo sunglasses on your head, and you will get a prize pack from Revo. More details to follow, so be paying attention for that, and we'll get some info out.
I like it.
Yeah. But with that said, let's get the champ in here, man.
Let's do it.
There he is.
Hey.
Bailey.
What's going on, fellas?
You ready to follow that story?
Man, I wish he had a GoPro on his boat.
That's what I was going to say. That's what we need to get him. Let's get him a Dakota Power Box and a GoPro.
It would have been awesome if he had like a head mount for when he was throwing haymakers.
I'd like to see the chest view of just like dude's face.
Yeah, it's like playing Wii Sports.
That's crazy.
Hey, you know, with a public release information, we could probably get the body cam footage from the cops that showed up at least. Ooh. Maybe.
You think they have body cams in Alabama?
Yeah, that's true. Never mind.
Yep. It's a liability, Jeff. There's no way they're doing that.
All right. Well, Bailey, man, congratulations on the huge win. So pumped for you. I know I sent you a message Saturday night saying close them out, and by God, you did it.
Yeah, I phone was kind of blowing up a little bit, and I was actually, turned it off a little bit Saturday night because there was a bunch of people saying that, and I'm one to be a head case sometimes. Like Sunday, I didn't look at standings because I see something, either I'm leading or not leading, it gets in my head one way or another. But it was pretty cool to see the sport come out Saturday night and, phone blowing up Sunday. And I kind of figured when, Steve came around to find me on Sunday, something good was happening. So it's a fun weekend.
He's trying to park on your fish. That's what was happening.
Yeah. I was telling him that. I'm like, you probably get some good waypoints out of this gig.
Now you were sitting pretty, man. Honestly, I didn't think anybody was going to come close. And then late in the day, old Ron started pulling the tricks out of the hat. It was like big fish pick. And I was like, all right, well, he may get close. I didn't think it was mathematically possible that he was going to catch up to where you were, that would have took a mega bag there.
Yeah, he had me kind of scared there for a second, though, because we're standing up and AJ got it down to Ron and I on stage, and Ron whispers over to me. He goes, "Would I make you scared if I told you I had 2 big calls in the last hour?" And I'm like, "Oh, damn, did you win this thing?" And then AJ hyped it up as like I lost it, and he had me fooled. I thought for sure I had it lost.
He's real tricky like that. You got to watch him.
Yeah.
I texted like late in the day. I'd messaged you, and you're like, "Man, I don't know if I've got it." And I was like, "Dude, you've got like a 7-inch lead. Like, come on now. You got this. I'm glad I was right because I already booked him for the podcast before the tournament was over. So
yeah,
proactive.
Yeah, I had no idea until the end. Brady and I so Brady was leading day one. Him and I were sharing the same area. And he was the one that actually had the airboat almost hit him. I just happened to be watching it from across the bank.
What happened there?
It was just like this airboat was like going through the backwaters of these, fields and crap. And they came by and came pretty dang close to him. And they like cut into the woods, like right where he was. And I thought for sure they were going to, that airboat, he was going to be right behind it and wasn't going to be no bueno. But no, thankfully they just left. But it was a pretty close call.
What were they? Were they just joyriding or were they spraying? I heard there were airboats and helicopters spraying up there. Yeah,
they were just joyriding around.
Brady's old tough Nebraska kid. I wouldn't mess with him either.
Yeah, I mean, Jeremy here, we had 2 completely different experiences where Brady and I had a nice leisure, peaceful ride out to our starting spot in the morning, and it sounds like Jeremy had the complete polar opposite.
Where you said you were up the river, so for those that don't know, Eufaula has a pretty long river section that starts in Columbus and runs all the way in, and then it starts to widen out, where the lake forms. It's got 2 or 3 big feeder creeks that come in and fill it up. But you were up in the river section. What did you find, and how did you stumble upon it?
Yeah, so what I ended up finding was basically just looking for clear water, and it was kind of a process of me heading down to Eufaula with the preconceived notion that they'd be coming off the bed. So my original plan was to head down there and look for the biggest spawning areas and then try to graph and find brush piles closest to those spawning areas, thinking that's going to be their first stop off the bed. But when I got there and first day of practice, I saw high 50s, low 60s temps and was starting to catch some shallow on a frog. I realized that wasn't going to be the case and that I needed to live shallow. But we got those storms in and it muddied up the whole lake, as everyone saw. And I basically just got in the car and drove around the entire lake, just checking creeks, checking his bridges as far back as I could in creeks just to see what water clarity was. And I had actually, the only way I found it, I was sitting at camp and I was on Google Earth and I found back in 2016, the lake was super muddy and way back up in this river, up at Riverbend, way in the back, it was still clear. And I don't know if maybe it was just Google Earth or what, but I figured it was worth checking out. And I drove up, paddled back there, and lo and behold, it was like clear, tannic Florida water. And they had a bunch of hyacinth mats back there. And it was like afternoon when I found this stuff. And I just threw one little pitch with the spinnerbait and had a 5-pounder come out from under the hyacinth mat. And I was like, all right, this is the best thing I found. I guess we're just going to kind of roll with this. Day one, I didn't realize how good of an area it was. But Brady and I were the only ones that were back in that area, and there was a really good shad spawn going down because there was a bunch of banks leading back that had really hard bottom, but like you couldn't throw your bait in there because all you do would be snagging shad. But there was like a subtle shad spawn on the hyacinth mat that was just enough to get your bait around fish and be noticeable, and that was how we were getting bit.
I don't think finding shad or a shad spawn was an issue for anyone on that lake.
No.
I have never seen more shad than what I did in that place. I was in Kawiki, and the first island going back into Kawiki under the bridge, it was like 300 yards long, and that entire 300-yard bank was just solid shad. Not any bass, but solid shad, which surprised me.
Yeah, I think that the ticket was just the watercolor. I think that was the biggest thing.
For sure.
Yeah.
Kawiki was solid mud. I mean, like literally looked like chocolate milk. That was not a good call on my part.
I think, did I see on your Instagram, Bailey, was it in pre-fishing? You came across a pretty big lizard turning the bend up in a creek somewhere?
Oh, yeah. I had to change my pants that evening. That was, I was rounding this corner of this hay grass and throwing a frog along it and not paying attention. And I just at the last very second, I look up to the right about 20 yards in front of me, and there's this 10-footer come crashing off the bank and makes this huge splash. And you just hear me in the back going, holy shit, and just like pedaling for my life away from this thing. Yeah, it was pretty crazy. And actually, Brady and I had a crazy encounter with one at the end of day 2 after that airboat left. We had probably like Brady and I think it was like a 10 to 12 footer. We don't know exactly how big. I'm the New Yorker. I can't measure these things from my eyes, but the thing put its like tail up in the water and lifted its head out the water towards the sky and let out this like guttural growl. I got it on GoPro and saved it. And it's crazy. But I was like, I don't know what that means, but I'm going to keep fishing until like it starts coming towards me. It was going away from us at the time, but we got back to the ramp and I asked some of the guys that were from the area what that means. And they're like, well, either it wants to sleep with you or eat you, but either way, you probably want to get out of there.
Yeah, he's just saying what's up.
Maybe both. One first and then the other.
Yeah, that's right.
Wow.
Yeah. Place was fun, though. It was a complete change of scenery from the north, obviously.
It was very fun for you, it sounds like, because you were in an area that had fish inside it.
Yeah, it broke it broke me, Bailey. It broke my spirit.
There's a lot of guys that got their feelings crushed in this one.
Let me ask you this, man, because this is not the first time and probably won't be the last that somebody from the Northeast comes south and wins a big tournament. It seems to happen all the time, a couple times a year. Why do you think that you guys from up north, the Northeast, can how does fishing translate from up there down to the Southeast? Because it happens all the time.
Yeah, I mean, I can't speak for a lot of it just because, this was, I think, my 4th tournament on a national level that I've fished so far. But I think what we have to our advantage is a lot of lakes that just have a diversity of, pieces of cover from shallow to deep to, we have submerged trees to, somewhat quote unquote swampy type of areas that we can kind of get, comfortable with. So it's not a huge adjustment when we head south. So, I mean, I think that's probably the biggest thing to credit for it, but it's a versatile place up in the Northeast. And what I did, down there with the hyacinth mats is exactly what I'll be doing in a couple weeks here with all our milfoil clumps that start growing and just burning a spinnerbait alongside of it. So it's kind of a way we just kind of relate it to similar stuff up here. But I guess you could probably say that for a lot of people from different parts of the country.
So day one, take us through day one, man. You said you were sharing water with Brady. I guess you were sharing water both days. Is that right?
Yeah. And actually, so I didn't even realize that was Brady until after day one, until somebody told me that was Brady back there. But yeah, so day one, I didn't find anything beyond that area. I didn't find anything good in practice. And just showed up to the ramp and started pedaling back there. And at first, Brady and I were racing back there till we realized we weren't fishing the same stuff. And so day one, I started on that hardcover stretch till I realized that basically there's too much shad to try to get to any of the fish. So I went back to the area. I have like basically 2 banks that are like, maybe 100-yard stretch at most of just hyacinth mats. And all I did was just get right up to that mat and parallel it with a spinnerbait. And they were coming out from under it, just kind of ambushing it. And one thing I kind of noticed too, the best bites that I got were if I could find a point or a regularity in the mat, and I was able to angle my cast to get the spinnerbait actually under the hyacinth, and that was when I was getting the best bites. But my bites came quick. I was there for 45 minutes, had the 86 inches, and then went and just to find new water and try to call up because I looked at the standing Saturday because I just want to know where I need to stop in case I need to keep fishing to keep myself in contention. So I noticed I was in first with like at 10:30 or something like that. And I know Brady made a late day call. Same with, I think his name's Nate or Nick Dyer.
Nick. Yeah.
Yeah. And I was sitting in third for a while and I didn't bother going back there just because I had all the fish I needed and was right where I needed to be. So the rest of the day, I didn't catch fish from 10 a.m. till the rest of the day. And that was, sitting nice for day 2.
Let that be a lesson. That's a hard thing to do, isn't it, Ryan? Lay off your fish like that.
Oh, for sure. I mean, but in these 2-day tournaments, like I think fish management is probably like the most important thing, especially if you only have one spot. Like, you can't blow it out. If you have like 2 or 3, then you can beat on them a little more. But with one spot, you have to manage those fish.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'd seen a bunch of fish going through it that, I just wanted to make sure. I didn't know how many there were in that area. And with how slim pickings it seemed to be throughout the week, I didn't want to, beat up on them too bad. The last thing I wanted was to take fish that would screw me out for day 2. So just got out of there and tried to find different similar creeks with hyacinths in it, but couldn't find anything for us today. It seemed like the bite just died too around 10:30.
So day 1's in the books, man. You're sitting in third place. But obviously, especially the top, 4 or 5 of you, you guys had a lot of distance between the rest of the field. So were you pretty confident that that was going to hold up going into day 2?
I mean, in terms of the spot, you mean?
Yeah. Your
yeah, I mean,
back there.
I felt pretty confident Saturday night that I was going to get a limit. I didn't know if I was going to have a big bite. I mean, I had an 18 and a 19 on day 1. The guys in front of me, the guy I was tied with and Brady, they all had 20 inchers. And in the back of my mind, I knew that if I could get a limit and have a shot at one of those 20s, that I could be in, I could have a chance at winning if Brady had a bad day and he didn't catch him. But I went back day 2 and went to quick work. So my third cast caught like a 13, caught like 3 13s in the first 5 minutes. And then was able to call up pretty quick. I think I had my full bag within probably the first 45 minutes of fishing. I just couldn't submit them because I had no service until like 10 o'clock. But I knew when I had the 18, that was one of the ones I needed to at least stay in the top 3. And I knew if I could have a limit, have that 18 and some decent ones, that I could at least have a shot at making top 3 in TOC. But after that 18, I think it was like probably 5 or 6 casts later, right at the boat was that 21 3/4 was a 6.5 pounder that 8. And I knew when I put that one in the boat that I had a genuine shot to actually win it, depending on how the other guys did.
Was every fish on a spinnerbait?
Every single one. I only needed to bring one rod.
Really? And is it like some sort of hand-tied spinnerbait, or is this a mass-produced deal? What were you throwing back there?
Yeah, it's just an accent spinnerbait. I think it's like the River Special is what they call it.
Okay, yeah.
It's just a 1/2 ounce double willow is gold and silver blades. The gold was, I think, more important than the silver was because it definitely flashed a lot better with that sun. Just something that attracted them a little bit better when they're under the mat to come out and ambush.
Could you feel them hitting just the gold blade?
Yeah, I just
yeah, I could feel them just singling that one out. Then they grab the hook.
No, I think it was more like a visual thing for me than it was anything else. More of just confidence because I had thrown double willow silvers in practice and it didn't look as good to me. I mean, it probably didn't make a difference, but I think just for me, confidence-wise, it made more sense having a little bit of gold on there with the sun. And the water clarity, like I thought about Florida. In Florida, you scream gold just from a color standpoint.
Eufaula and Seminole. I mean, Seminole obviously borders on Florida, but both of those are really kind of, in my opinion, Florida fishing setups. Eufaula is a much, I think, back in the day when it had grass and it was putting out those mega bags, it was really known for offshore because I feel like the grass and the shallow stuff got pressured so much. Now I think that's what makes that lake so unpredictable. Like there's not a ton of grass, and it's really narrowed down kind of the areas that show out consistently. Obviously, the south end of the lake where Ron was, you know, he mentioned it was really consistent back in the fall, and with you and Brady both putting those numbers up, obviously that was a pretty good spot to be as well.
Yeah, and I figured up north more with because after that storm, I figured at some point the water would start falling, and it was kind of cool to see each day, like from practice where I found them, they were further back, and I could tell each day the water was dropping slower. And they would just be from day one or from practice to day one to end of day two, they moved closer and closer and closer to the mouth of that chute as that water was dropping. So it was kind of cool to stick with them.
Yeah. Appreciate everybody watching that. We got a bunch of folks on YouTube, a bunch of folks on Facebook. We appreciate y'all. Feel free to go ahead and share this thing around so other people can see it. It's been a good one so far. As always, appreciate everybody. And I'm going to share my screen again. This is something we talk about all the time on here, Bailey. You had 2 great days, but you didn't really lead or win either day, you know, individually. I mean, you were top 3 both days. Obviously, that's fantastic. But just that consistency, man, having that consistency leads to those wins. I mean, third on day 1, second on day 2, but then 5 inches clear of the field almost on day 3 just through being consistent both days. You know, how important did you, thinking back, how important was managing those fish to stay consistent over those 2 days?
I think it was huge. And really, honestly, with how Brady was fishing, and I went up to him Sunday morning before we launched because I learned after day 1 that was actually him back there. So I wanted to have the conversation with him to make sure we weren't like stepping on each other's toes. And we chatted about it, learned we weren't fishing anywhere, you know, near each other in terms of what our best stuff was. And I thought for sure that he was going to have it in the bag if he was going to kind of have a repeat of his day 1. I knew consistency was going to be important for me to make top 3 and make TOC. So that was what I was really just more concerned about. But knowing that when I got back and having those bites so quick, I think that made me feel really good about leaving those fish alone on day 1, especially when that big one showed up. I think that's when it kind of paid off and things started clicking and kind of starting to have that feeling of, hey, this might happen here. But I think it was.
Were
huge
y'all fishing? Were you fishing further back in the creek than him, or was he further back in the creek with you? When you say y'all were fishing the same area, what do you think made your fish perform better on day 2? If y'all were kind of on a similar pattern.
Yeah, I can't say for certain why the size of his fish weren't there. We were fishing almost all the way to the back, and honestly, we're at about the same distance. But he was basically on one bank and I was on the other. And kind of in my theory is actually I went and auto charted that. Auto chart is a chip that Humminbird has where you make your own custom map based on like what your sonar readings are. And I auto charted that.
Shameless plug, Humminbird.
Well done, Bailey. Well done.
Go team.
Well done.
But what I did is those hyacinth mats, I auto charted them to see if there was any difference between the depths of all of them. And the best ones I had on Sunday was the deepest ones. So I figured dropping water, that was going to be the most consistent. And that's why I think they might have been there. But then again, that's just theory. And I'm the New Yorker fishing down south. So who knows?
Do you know what he was doing? Was he throwing a spinnerbait too, or was he flipping something over there?
He was throwing a spinnerbait. Actually, we met up at the end and pedaled back with each other. And he gave me one of his own handmade custom spinnerbaits as a trophy, he said.
All right. Sam Cox asked, trailer or no trailer on the spinnerbait?
Yeah, a 4-inch paddle tail.
There you go. That's a healthy trailer on a spinnerbait. That's pretty good size one there.
Yeah, all the shad that were jumping were pretty big. So just trying, and I was throwing big willow blades, like 3.5 inch willow blades. So just trying to match that. It seemed to help with bigger bites.
Somebody wanted to ask how you felt about camping down south.
That's my buddy Forrest from home. He's actually from Louisiana. And Ryan, you know full well about this because I messaged you about this heading down south. Yeah. I was like, I've camped a lot. Like I love it, but I've always done it up north. And I was like, I've never camped down south. And I know there's more critters that are out to get you than up north. So I was like, what should I plan for down there?
What'd I tell you?
You said have a gun with you.
Yeah, you said for the critters of the people. I said both.
That's
Stay strapped, my friend. Stay
Or,
strapped.
or camp with Jeremy.
I was
Camp
gonna
with Jeremy.
say, or keep Jeremy with you because he'll give him that old 2-piece.
Oh, that's good.
We're gonna have to clip this whole episode, Jeff.
No, we're clipping this episode all the pieces. We're going viral with some of these clips. It's gonna be
Oh my
amazing.
gosh! Again, reward out if anybody can come across that video. What's next? Tell us about your podcast. That's the first thing I want to get to. Like fishing's cool, but you really focus a lot on content creation, the media stuff, and your own podcast.
Yeah. So for folks watching, I run the Serious Angler podcast, and that was something I started just about almost exactly 2.5 years ago. And it was a deal where I had an internship and I wasn't going to be able to fish for 6 months. And the closest thing I could get was at least talking fishing. And I just always have a thing for learning. I just kind of want to always improve. I don't like kind of staying at one level. I want to keep advancing. And it was kind of a way for me to, just get in touch. One, I was, to network with people too, like make connections, make friends, get myself further into the industry. And since then, it's just kind of developed into this love for, getting people on that know a lot about a subject or a technique, that sort of thing, bringing them on and learning more about it while, being able to learn while we're not just on the water. We all know on the water is the best way to learn, but a way to, start simulating the brain cells off the water. And that's just kind of what Serious Angler is kind of all about. It's just trying to be better and learn more about bass. That's just kind of the cool deal we've going now, and it's kind of growing a little bit. We got 3 people on the team doing different segments. We got a whole business segment, and it's going strong right now, and it's creating a cool little community. I like you guys here.
So we do the opposite as far as stimulating brain cells. We do the opposite, whatever that
Try
is.
to kill brain cells.
We still have a good time.
Yeah, we don't want our audience getting too smart,
Yeah. Also, man, outside the podcast, you work. I mean, you actually work in the industry as well. Tell us a little bit about what you do in the industry.
Yeah. So my formal position title is PR manager for a company called Gunpowder, and it's basically a PR agency. We have clients at Pure Fishing, and so it's like Abu, Berkeley, Penn, Ugly Stick, the whole 9 yards that Pure Fishing owns, like the 19 different brands. Johnson Outdoors, Humminbird, Humminbird, Minn Kota, and those are the 2 main ones I work on, as well as X2 Power, which is new to the game. They're an AGM battery company that actually last week just released lithium. So I work predominantly with those 3 companies, but we also work with GoPro. We work with Psionics, like some of these pretty badass outdoor companies. And it's basically just a cool deal. Like PR wise, we're dealing with media and some of the pro teams and creating some of these big, these media events that you see people on, these media junkets. We're just the ones behind the scenes coordinating it. And it's a lot of fun, make a lot of cool connections. So it's
from what I've heard, you can get Jeremy a GoPro and a lithium. So
yeah.
There you go.
Win-win.
All right, there you go. I would suggest cutting in on the rights if you can get some sort of stipend from his views on his
yeah, that's right.
On his street boat ramp brawls. We'll call
every fight you
channel.
get in, I get 10%. Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I don't think the guy's gonna lose any, so be in good shape.
Jeremy against the world. I got Jeremy.
Yeah, no kidding. Dibs on Jeremy.
Yeah.
Let that hand heal up first.
Yeah, man. So you mentioned Humminbird earlier. You threw a little plug in there. Did the electronics play in this tournament? I mean, you were fishing pretty shallow, but did you use Mega Live or anything to help reveal where fish were or anything like that? Or was it just pure, you found the right water without worrying about the electronics?
Yeah, I mean, I think the first step was really finding the watercolor. And then I went back through after fishing, realized fish were there. I went and auto charted it just so I knew as much as I could about the area without actually catching fish. But honestly, day 1 and day 2, I didn't bring a graph out with me. I left it in the car just because, a lot of the fish that I were catching were right next to the boat. So it was kind of more like in my mind, stealth factor. Maybe they wouldn't hear the pinging type of deal.
Yep. I think if you're fishing shallow fish like that, that's a very good point. You don't always need more activity in the water, like electric motors, running electronics. It may not be the best idea for your shallow fish.
Yeah. I wanted less noise, and also too, just it's less weight, and being that they're hitting close to the boat and it's like you're scrambling. Then once they hit like at the kayak, I want as much room and less things like in the way when I'm trying to net these things. So last thing I want to do is have a graph in the way and get the net hung on it or something like that. So just left it in the car, which is actually kind of nice because being up north, I have 2 graphs on the kayak most times.
Y'all are wild up there.
You're fishing like Jordan and Ryan over there. Electronics free.
Yeah, just getting raw with it. That's right.
Just getting raw. Yeah. So we always talk on here about how everything goes right when you win a tournament. You were fishing with a spinnerbait. You had fish smashing it by the boat. Did you fish clean both days? Did you lose any fish? Did you have anything that would have helped your limit get away?
Yeah, I mean, day 2, everything that I hooked was in the boat, including the 20 bowfin that ruined like half my spinnerbait lineup. But day 1, I caught everything except for one that was probably like 17 or 18 that came off when I was literally reeling it up to the boat and was fixing my 360 steering and left the spinnerbait in the water and it ate it. And tried to set the hook with my offhand and didn't have it. But I was hoping that wouldn't hurt me, but even though it would have called probably only been like a 2 or 3 inch call. But
was your bait just hanging off the side or did you have some line out? Oh shit.
Yeah, like I reeled it up and then went to change my 360 drive to get me back parallel with the mat, and it ate it right then as I'm looking away and tried to set the hook with my offhand, and it did. I came right off.
I was in the state championship, like up in the river fishing. I had just landed like 18 or 19 inch smallmouth, and I'm trying to measure it. So I had my spinnerbait just hanging over the side, and another like 18 or 19 inch smallmouth came up and ate it. And I had 2 other guys with me, and they're like, trying to help me. I was like, I can't have 2 fish in the boat at the side. Y'all get away from me. I can't do this. I can't process what's happening. Like that's such a freak. Like you have to be, split second on time, or else something disastrous is going to happen when stuff goes awry.
Yeah.
Somebody else is asking about the spinnerbait. Bailey said it was an accent. Would you say what size? Was it half ounce or quarter ounce? What was it?
Yeah, it was a half ounce white spinnerbait with a gold and silver willow blades.
Got you. There you go. Sam said that's how you know you got your bite dialed when they're trying to eat it while it's just hanging there.
What's your favorite lake to fish? I mean, obviously we've talked about you being from Buffalo, but what's your favorite lake if you had to pick one?
My favorite in the world is Cayuga, honestly. I love the Great Lakes, don't get me wrong. Like Lake Erie, Lake Ontario, they're an absolute riot, but Cayuga's a fun place up here that kind of gets overlooked. That's really good for largemouth and smallmouth. It's kind of the lake I grew up on, learned a lot of what I know now. So it's a fun deal. You can catch them shallow, you can catch them deep, you can catch them however you want to catch them. So it's a pretty cool deal.
Is that the same as Cayuga?
Yeah, Cayuga.
This one's spelled with a K, Jeff. Come on.
All these people down at, when you hear it on videos down here, they say Cayuga, which they mispronounce lake names all the time. So I'm trusting the New Yorker. What he says is it.
We call it Cayuga.
Susquehanna.
Yeah.
It's like the people that say Chickamauga.
Hey, come on now.
Chickamauga.
Yeah, get it. No one knows how to say or spell that.
Yeah.
Pretty safe.
Dylan Lowry's in the comments asking, have you ever zeroed on your home lake?
Yeah, I have.
Dylan, I don't even think that's just your daddy's home lake. That ain't, I seen it. That ain't your home lake, pal. You sold that one.
I don't want to rub salt in Dylan's wounds, but I talked to him at the captain's meeting, and I leaned over to him. I said, man, you on him? He said, I'm always on him here.
Oh.
I stayed with Dylan, and I tucked the little boy in at 8:00 every night before I went out to do grown folks things, and made sure he was well rested and fed and hydrated. And damn, if he didn't get out there and skunk.
Love you, Dylan. It's gonna be your day one day.
Best influence job I've ever done, but it didn't pay off. I'm sorry.
Me and you, Dylan,
Yeah,
one day.
I heard he had high hopes for the tournament. I think you just got to go back there and go beat their face in and get the skunk off your back.
So, Brian, I saw the Stockel in the comments, and on my long, miserable drive home, I listened to several Ike Lives. They were either Ike Lives or Bad Shoes. I don't know, but same difference. Same people talking.
Same thing.
Same people talking. And they were talking about slump busting. So a lot of people leaving Eufaula, including yours truly, felt like they were very much in a slump after a couple bad events, and then Eufaula really, really, really putting the hurt on people. So, Bailey, like you said, you've just been fishing national tournaments for a little bit, but you're on a podcast. You talk to a lot of pros. Ryan, you've been around the game a long time. What advice do you give? Because I heard what they said on that podcast about busting slumps for people coming off a tough event.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is finding a lake where you know you're going to blast them and go crack as many skulls as you can just to get that feeling back. And then just you have to do your best mentally to just put it out, throw it in the trash, and never think about it again.
I think when you have a bad day, you have to reset for like honestly, like Saturday, I was super frustrated myself. I was in like 54th or something crazy. I was super frustrated. Part of me thought about just sleeping in and driving on back, but I'm like, the bite's not that great down here. A lot of people are struggling. I feel like there's going to be some major changes at the top. I'm going to go out and do something that's exactly opposite in the exact opposite part of the lake and try to get points out of this, because the way the Hobie series is playing out this year, if you get a couple top 25 or so finishes, that's going to be huge in getting into TOC on points. So, I think you have to mix it up. But like Bailey said, going out, that's what I did right before we started this podcast. Went out in the old home pond and smashed some smallmouth in the head. And now I feel whole again. Like, you have to keep your confidence up. The fish don't know. They don't know you're in a slump. It's not the fish. It's you. It's all in your head. That's where the slump lives.
What I heard some of the fellas say on the Ike's podcast was, don't try too hard to come out of it. Just keep fishing.
Mm-hmm. You can't force it.
Yeah. Just like when I used to play basketball a lot, if you're in a shooting slump, keep shooting. Right?
Shoot or shoot, baby.
Shoot or
That's
shoot.
it.
You come out of it.
Yeah, I think it was Christy that said if you keep trying to force yourself out of it, you're going to dig yourself a deeper hole.
Yeah.
Because that's all you think about. That's all you think about is I have to get out of this. Why am I fishing this way? Just relax.
Yeah, and speaking of that, Mark just commented, Twin Life finished 23 and 24. You guys both had, less than satisfactory day ones in your own standards, but you made a push for top 25 on day 2 by doing that. So.
Mark and I have a formula in big tournaments. It's find the smokiest, shittiest pool hall you can and stay out all night at shooting pool. And for us, that's how we get out of a slump. I'm not recommending this to everybody, but that's how Mark and I choose to live our lives.
Well, there's no secret sauce. Everybody has their own way.
That's
what I'm
right.
saying? So
that's right.
There you go. I chose to go to Chick-fil-A and go home, and it didn't end up working out very well. But
well, you drive a station wagon, Jeff.
That's true. That's true. I did accidentally use the women's room on the captain's meeting. So I don't know what's going on.
I knew there was. I knew.
I don't know what's
in my
going
head, I was like, "There's something I'm supposed to bring up about Jeff today," and that was it.
Yeah, I don't know. I turned around. I came out, was standing there watching AJ talk, and then I saw Jesse Halverson go in the opposite door, and I thought, well, why did he go in that door? And I went in the wrong. That was the prelude to the weekend right there. So it was glorious, though. It was a magical place in there.
They're gender neutral in Alabama, Jeff. Don't worry.
Well, there was no urinals, so I disagree.
That
should have been my first cue, I guess.
I'm proud of you, Jeff. I never thought I'd see you sneak in there like that, but you sure did.
Katie. I was standing there talking to Katie, and she realized what happened and got quite the laugh out of it. So appreciate it.
With a first place finish, Bailey. So number one, have you cut a check in any of the national events that you fished previously?
So the first national event I've ever fished was actually Possum Kingdom last year. And I caught one of the last checks. I think I was like 28th in that one.
Okay.
Beyond that, no. I fished the Bass Nation on Lake Chickamauga. That was the first one I fished. That was in November last year. I think I was like 33rd or something in that. I sucked. And then I fished Toledo. And
33rd, I sucked.
And then beyond that was Toledo. And so this is like my fourth one I fished.
I got you. All right. And my second part to that question, now that you have a first place finish, are you going to chase that AOY?
You already know that. Yeah. Come on now.
I know you feel like you have to then, right?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
It didn't work out for me. I hope
it's setting up right for you too, because there's an event coming up your way, right? You gonna fish that one up there in the Northeast?
Yeah, believe it or not. Oh, so you're talking about Winnipesaukee?
Yeah,
I would love to fish that one, and I was talking to Ryan about this. That lands right on when I have an event for Abu Garcia. I got to be up on Champlain that whole week. I would have loved to fish that place.
Just apologize; they'll understand.
Yeah. Yeah, I wish I could. It's a really fun place, actually. Like big smallmouth that live shallow all year round, big boulders. You can throw a big spinnerbait, burn that sucker. You can't throw it fast enough and catch some big ones up there.
Will you study the map back 18 years and drop me some pins? I think I'm going to fly up for that one.
I'll leave.
I'm not kidding. I am kidding about the map study part, but I'm not kidding about. I think I am going to fly up for that.
Come
can't
snag
not
the
do it.
Hobie. You can borrow mine for the week.
I'm gonna. Well, Josh Evans was gonna bring me a Jackson, but if you're offering up a Hobie, I'll take it. No offense.
We didn't even touch on the gnar.
Dude,
Ryan.
we're gonna get there. That's what we're gonna close with. We're gonna get gnarly here at the end. Oh boy! And tell us, since we're talking about that, you fish out of a Hobie. Have you always fished out of a Hobie?
No, so I started like many, I assume, out of the it's a Walmart kayak, like a Pelican type of deal. Advanced to a Field and Stream Shadowcaster.
There you go.
Which was a big old barge trying to paddle that thing. But from there went to Wilderness Radar 135. Had that for about 2 years, and then started working with Morgan Marine, and have since been running Hobies for the past 2 years.
So you've really covered the gamut from beginner to champion in the boats as well.
Pretty much, yeah. It's about the whole hierarchy, I would say.
And how old are you, Bailey?
I'm 24.
Yeah, it's all downhill from here, man. Sorry.
Kiddos.
No, I'm just kidding, man.
Do you grunt when you sit down in your Hobie, or are you still pretty normal?
I'm getting there. My body's pretty beat up from sports growing up.
That's right. Once you get really good, you'll get that little wheeze at the end of your laugh. I've been working hard on that. I'm not sure if it's cholesterol or asthma, but it's one of the two.
Or both. Forrest Buchanan said Bailey also got third in the Peach State. So yeah, there was a double dip with the Peach State tournament. So you get to cash a little check there too, man.
Nice little $400 of some gas money on the ride home.
Forrest Buchanan knows everything.
He does.
Him and Katie Backer in a contest for who can throw up the most facts in the comments.
They're doing a great job. And yeah, as quick as Katie is to, have the links and find the facts for everything, she couldn't let me walk in the wrong freaking door at the cat. I can't believe that she let me do that. But anyway.
There were like 8 women in the whole building. So the chances of you actually bumping into somebody at the same time were slim. So I feel like the odds were in your favor.
Yeah. Thank goodness. Yeah. So before we close this thing out, we got to get to that debut boat, right? Get some thoughts on that. The gnar. Let me pull it up while y'all talk about it.
Are you going to pull up the definition of gnar or the boat?
Maybe both.
Okay, let's do both. Dun, dun, dun. So honestly, I've heard rumor of this boat coming about. The biggest thing that Jackson needed to do, in my opinion, was make a solid, dependable drive. They had a lot of trouble out of the original flex drive design. I feel like internally, based on feedback and actually getting hands on one, I do like the flex drive part of it, that flexible shaft that allows it to kick up into the hull when you're going over obstacles and things. I think that's pretty clutch for a prop drive kayak, because that way you're not, constantly having to flip it up. Or I've seen people like going down the Susky with their drive down and they hit a log or something or a rock and just come to a complete stop and go flying out the front. So I like the design that they had, but it appears that they have redesigned the upper unit on this thing. And I think it's belt driven if the videos that I've watched are factual.
I'm having a hard time finding a clear picture of this thing.
Did they block you? Did Jackson block you on the site?
Maybe.
Google Pro Angler and put it up, and we'll Photoshop in the other pieces.
Okay, I did find this, whatever this is worth.
JK.
The Wikipedia. Gnar is a keel boat. It's a Norwegian sailboat designed in 1943. So
okay, not quite Viking, but that's okay. All right, so
wait a minute. The Wiktionary. What does it mean in the Wiktionary? I don't know. I'm lost.
Those are wrong languages, sir.
Gnar FD, is that it?
Yep.
There she is.
There it do.
That's
so they changed the layout of their boat, and it's not in. I don't think it's quite as mass heavy on the outsides. Like the way the Hobie hull is designed is more of kind of a tunnel hull. This one still keeps some mass in the middle there. I saw it had a retractable transducer, I think, too, like a transducer protector up there on the front end.
Let's see if the Reddit image has anything.
That doesn't sound like a good place to find it, but
there we go. Now we're getting somewhere, by God. Look at there. Straight from the Jackson website.
Okay, yeah, that's a great place to look for it.
The deucer
is that transducer piece up in front of the pedal?
Uh-huh.
I like that.
I think that is.
Yeah, that's how the
to be honest, that's like one of my only gripes with Hobie is that the transducer hull is right below me and not towards the front. Because smallmouth fishing, when you're dropping on them, it's hard to do it when that transducer is right below you versus in front of you.
Garmin makes a live scope you can hang off the side and watch. Humminbird does too, but Garmin you can see it like 5 minutes before if you want to try that. I'm not sponsored by any electronics company. I'm sorry. I'm just having fun.
Yeah, I'll be curious to see this thing in person. I don't know what goes in this big open spot in front of the drive.
A battery. I watched the video. I watched Jameson's walkthrough video, Jeff, because I wanted to come to class knowing what I was talking about today. Right. It has 6 horizontal rod holders. Something that I really like that they did. If you look at the back hatch, that also can hold a 24-volt, 100 amp hour lithium battery. So you can either, if you're running a bow mount trolling motor, that'll help balance you out, or you can have your battery in the back for your stern mount, just right there next to the motor, so you're not running wires.
I like this Reddit. I like this Reddit post. EJ decided he won a piece of the new PA-14. I don't think they got the message that he's not part of the Jackson anymore.
Right? No, because this would be made of platinum or whatever an expensive metal is.
Carbon fiber.
Yeah, sure.
What do you think of the price point? $41.99.
I mean, I feel like the target for this was the PA market. I feel like they made a feature-rich, large, stable boat that is going to compete, is supposed to compete with it. You know, I think that's what they were shooting for. So I think you have to price it in that ballpark. You know, in medical sales, like I don't price my product $500,000 lower than somebody else because then you just look cheap. So I think it's a smart move. I think you have to be in that price point category.
Well, there we go. Be curious to see in person. I always, I'm an old town guy, love my old towns, but I always like to demo everybody else's boats so that I know what I'm talking about when we talk about them. So can't wait to see one at some demo day somewhere. All right. Anything else you want to touch on before we let Bailey get out of here? I know he's got to be beat after making his way back up to the north after that long weekend. No?
Bailey hates us. What's your next event, Bailey?
I'm gonna be at Chickamauga.
All right. You don't want to spot in the bow? We got a few spots left at the bow. You can come on out.
I was thinking about it, but I don't know if I got another 22-hour, 23-hour drive in me like Toledo.
So you're doing Chick. Are you doing Susky?
Susky, and then I'll do Wolf and Fox.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. So that's your run. That's your design path to AOY right there.
Hopefully. Fingers crossed.
I like it. Good luck, man. I'm proud of you. Seriously. We've known each other for a few years. Watch you start the podcast, watch you get everything rolling here. Now watch you win your, first, huge field national event. Like, it doesn't get more competitive than what you just did. That was awesome.
Yeah, man.
I appreciate it. It's been pretty cool to see the support coming out of it since the win yesterday. And it's just a pretty cool community that we got here, just the environment that Hobie's made. And I don't know, it's cool to see all the messages rolling in and see how many people are actually paying attention to it. I couldn't tell you how many guys that from the big boater world that are actually paying attention to this, whether it's public facing or not, but keep an eye on what goes down on the Hobie Trail. So that was pretty cool to see.
I guarantee you that guy Jeremy met on the boat dock Googled who won that tournament too. So he's proud as well.
He was just wanting to see if he could sue somebody for $10K. That's what he wanted to see.
Dang. Yes, sir.
All right, man. Well, hey, KBN, big supporters of Bailey, man. We're big fans of Bailey. We're pumped for you. And, thanks for taking the time tonight. That was fun.
Keep hustling. Call me when you get to Chick. We'll be around.
Yeah, I appreciate it, boys. It's been nice to get on here and chat with you guys. And always been a fan of the show. So keep doing what you guys are doing. And hope to see you guys soon down in Tennessee.
Hey, wait a minute. Hey, Jeremy.
Yes, sir.
I didn't know you were still in the waiting room, dude. You got any last words for it?
No, sir. I sure don't, man. I was just listening.
Okay. I thought you were going to hit us with some words of knowledge before you slid out of here.
I got no words. No, I'm listening to Bailey. I'm trying to learn.
All right.
That's smart. You're a smart man, Jeremy. Jeremy,
All right.
Yes, sir.
what are you fishing for the rest of the season, Jeremy? I want to know what to watch out for.
I'm going to Chick. I am doing Susky. I'm doing New Hampshire. What else am I doing? I'm doing pretty much all of them, but Broken Bow, I think.
All right. Well, find me in any of them. I'll buy you a beer or 5.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
There we
Appreciate
go.
Jeff having me on the show, man.
All right.
See you, everybody.
You guys have a good
See
night.
y'all.